I will bring my Little League trophy, and I still got all my trophies.
Everybody got a trophy in Little League.
Where I'm from, it's a lot of, I would say, dark energy, and I just wanted to be an inspiration to people because I feel like that's what I needed when I was young.
Number one cheese in the country.
No.
Number one cheese in the country.
No.
The super villain decides the world did this to me. The superhero says, the world did this to me. I'm gonna make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else.
Ooh, yeah.
Dropping gems, sports culture, entertainment from a broader lens. This where it all begins, and we'll be talking that on or off the track. The whole crew ready, it's time to drop the jack.
What's going on, world? Welcome back to Drop the Jack. It's Darrell Levers. I'm from Baltimore, and with me I have...
Walks home, Paul Swan.
Buffalo Kid, Jordan Page.
The Michael Hicks.
Albert Smith.
Welcome in, guys. What's the temperature like today? How y'all feeling? What's everybody week looking
Mamba,
like?
he was kind of...
Yeah, that's kind of weak, man.
Listen, I'm just matter of fact,
Mamba
okay?
Smith?
Mamba Smith. I'm an astute gentleman.
Okay.
You know it.
Astute.
I'm good. No, everything's great. It's been a good week. You know, the days are just ticking down, you know? Day after day.
The days go by slow, but the weeks go by fast.
You know what's crazy? It is kind of crazy about it, and the years fly.
That's going faster, yeah.
The
Exactly.
years been flying.
100%.
Like, I feel like it was like, you know, summertime about a day ago, and now we're already in fall. So
For me, I can't wait till Pit Crew Friday, which is technically Thursdays for most of us.
That is right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, for me,
What is that? What is
the
that?
best
That's
day
the
of the
last
week.
day of work,
You know,
man.
Thursday.
It's the last
I'll
day
let
of
you
work.
tell you.
Oh, it's the last day of work.
Yeah.
Well, some of us have to work, you know, 7 days a week.
Well,
Hey.
hold on. These guys don't because they're cup only, all of them. But I pit all the series, so
He
I really don't have. I have a pit crew Friday, and then we just go right into work weekend. So
So we're all Pit Crew athletes now. We know that's our career, but where do we start at? Like, what was our sport before this? You know, you guys talk about that a little bit on. What was your original sport? Like, what got you jump started into this, or what anything? It could be a sport or anything. What got you jump
Well,
started?
I think like for me, when I first realized I was going to be, you know, kind of become an athlete and kind of make that my deal, you know, really had to be kindergarten. It was just right. It was right off the rip.
You was
So-
a little
come
kid.
on,
I was a little
come
jit.
on.
A young buck.
You're a headhunter.
I was out there in flag football. I was a youngster playing up in the kindergarten level. My dad put me in, you know, early on, and you know they called me the freak because I was just a dog out there, scoring touchdowns.
Who called
I need to see it. We need to see video of this.
I will bring my Little League trophy, and I still got all my trophies.
Everybody got a trophy in
No,
Little
but it says
League.
everybody's nickname on it, and it said the
Where
freak.
my card?
Okay.
'Cause
Everybody got a trophy
I
in
might
Little
gotta
League.
drop the jack.
It said the
and,
freak.
and here's why. Who in their right mind is calling a kindergarten?
I was about to say that. A kid.
I was a freak.
You know, that kid's
That's
a
my
freak.
drop the jack. I'm using mine earlier in this show. That's how I feel, man. What about you, Joy?
I think it was nothing about being called a freak, but
I'm sorry for you, brother.
I mean, hey, people got their nicknames. That just wasn't mine.
doubt, no
Mine
doubt.
was Juice, you know. So at
Still to this day, too.
to this day, you
How
know.
you get that name?
I mean, it's a long story, but I'll make it short. Basically, I just had characteristics of, you know, other people that came before me that had the name. So it's kind of like a name that get passed down.
Oh, okay,
So
that's cool.
you kind of get like
Like a
crowned.
family?
Nah, not a family. It's more like a neighborhood type of.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of get crowned a certain name.
What was the characteristic of that?
It was, well, the guy that previously that had the name, he was also light skinned like myself. So and you know, when you have a certain type of charisma, I would call it. Yeah.
So
and,
it's a character, like a personality.
Yeah, it's a characteristics. It's a like I was saying, it's a long lineage of people with the name, and I think I kind of accumulated all the characteristics of people.
But
they weren't
that had the
freaks.
name. They was not freaks.
Okay.
That was not one of them.
So
check
would
on that for all
me or
that,
Darrell be able to, like, do we hit that first, you know, characteristic or no?
No. You got from a young age, man. I had that name since I was in the 6th grade.
So have you
But,
passed it down?
I would pass it down to my son.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
like that.
if he has the same characteristics as me, you know.
He's got to earn it.
Juice,
But, yeah.
juice is like a respect thing. Like,
Yeah,
from
no,
what
that's
I
what I'm
know,
saying,
like,
yeah.
So do I got
That's
the
a-
juice?
No, you can have juice. You can have juice. You can have juice. Anybody can have juice, but
not you, but
that's not your name though. Anybody can have the
That's
juice,
fair.
but
Okay.
to make it a name, you embody something. You know, you embody the things that make you, you know, juice. But back to my story, I think I knew I was an athlete the first time I made like my first big hit in football. Like when
How old were you?
I was 6 years old.
Okay.
What, like, take us through the hit.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I was
give me
playing
that.
defensive end. That was like my natural position that they put me at, probably just because I was, still somewhat tall at 6 years old. Not, nothing crazy, but I was still had good height. And we were playing a team that was actually older than us. Like you were saying, you played up. So I was maybe 6 years old. We playing against maybe like 7, 8-year-olds now. So, and the quarterback was the best player on the team, on the bigger team. And I come around the corner, I don't know if I was blocked or not, and I hit him in his square in his back, and he dropped the ball and fumbled it and everything. It was just like a big hit, and my coach went crazy. And I think that's when I was like, I'm good. I'm good at this. So yeah, that was like my moment where I knew like I might be good at this football thing. So.
Yeah, and I didn't really ever consider myself an athlete, right? Like I raced dirt bikes and,
They're still athletes.
You're an extreme
sure.
athlete.
I agree, but like, when you're young, you see these football players and the NBA guys and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, those are athletes. I really never considered myself an athlete.
I'm gonna say
athletic.
you're an athlete.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? That's everybody's discretion. Like,
Yeah.
bro, riding hours and hours, like that takes some. It's
not easy.
That takes some
for sure,
athleticism,
yeah.
bro.
I mean, it's hard, no doubt.
Quads, forearms, you know what I
Forearms
mean?
for sure.
The forearm pump, that's a real thing, right? Forearm
Oh,
pump?
yeah, 100%. I mean, like when you're riding motocross and you start getting forearm pump, you can't even twist the throttle. It gets so bad.
Yeah, what's that? I've just heard about it. I don't know.
Your forearms, like they pretty much cramp. Like they
definitely
become
see
like
that.
numb, where
Sounds
you
like
can't
some
even hardly
rad
grab
though.
onto the handlebars anymore.
Yeah, have you ever tried to do this for a long period of time?
Yeah, I've done
your
that.
hand to get tired for sure.
Yeah, I've done that workout where
like
it's on the
reset it.
string.
Yeah,
and
you
like,
roll
do
the
the-
roller.
Yeah,
Roller
that's
roller,
what we used to
I
do.
can tell you got some nice forearms there, brother.
You gotta lock up.
That's a driving forearms. That's some driving
I
forearms.
mean, you got when you're in the car, you gotta.
And for me, man, it was basketball. Like, I was a chubby kid growing up, real fat. I still got my
come on,
father's
man.
side bottom too now. Yeah, I was a chubby kid, man, but I had like a talent for like shooting the ball. Like, we go to YMCA, me, my father, and my brothers, and like me and my pops would play against me and my brothers, and I could always figure out how to shoot. It looked weird. I was chubby. Just imagine a kid, like this.
fat
One,
kid
I could
putting
make
it
it.
up.
And like, I can recall a story. AAU, we go to Cocoa Beach. I'm the fat kid, and they needed a 3-point game. I wasn't getting in the game, and they looked down the bench like, picture that movie. You know what I mean? I'm at the Jarrell, come in. I'm like, shorts up.
Like a Coach Carter moment.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro.
Oh man.
And I made a shot. Like, as a chubby little kid, and like won the game at Cocoa Beach, Florida. I'll never forget,
You weren't
man.
scared
In
to
that
shoot it.
moment, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm an athlete, but I was like, oh, like Juice, I'm good. I'm good. I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try to
got
use
this.
this basketball thing up. And coming from where I'm from, it was a scapegoat, to be honest. I was young, trauma kid, seeing a lot of things I shouldn't have saw at an early age. And for me to be able to walk to the nearest basketball court to shoot some hoops, it just was like an escape from everything I was seeing at a young age that I shouldn't have seen.
Well, I know
what I mean?
talking to you a lot about stuff like that was kind of your way out, right? It was either
Absolutely.
that or I think you said being a rapper or, you don't have many options.
Well, it was like you get taught basketball, football, comedian, rap. It was kind of like not a lot of stuff. You kind of got boxed in, and you were boxed in because of acceptance. You know what I mean? Like, that was the only thing accepted, where I grew up at. So that's what you chased, because you couldn't wait to get home from a high school basketball game and be like, hey, yo, Ralph, you scored 30. We was at the game, shorty. Like, I saw you, blah, blah, blah. Like, that feeling felt good. It was love. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Felt
you had
accepted
them
and everything.
Yeah, man. So I kept, that was my identity. So
we are in Vermont. It's way different. Like, there is no
What's up in Vermont?
nothing. I left.
Cheese, right?
Yeah, cheese.
Yeah, they got good
we have
cheese.
great cheese.
Yeah.
Number one
Not as good
cheese.
as Wisconsin.
Number one cheese in the country.
No.
Number one cheese in the country.
No.
And then we got great maple syrup.
hold up.
We're gonna have to have a
We
cheese
need to
off
look
in
this
here.
up.
No, I'll give you maple syrup, and I know you're known for cheese, but you're number 2 to Wisconsin.
Next show, maybe we might need
have
to
to
come
look
up
it
with
up.
facts.
We're
Yeah.
gonna
Cabbage
some
cheese,
cheese
look,
curds.
check it
I'm
out.
about to say.
I'll bring my
never heard
cheese
of
curds, and you
Vermont
bring
cheese.
your Vermont cheddar.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a deal.
fair.
That's a deal.
So,
We'll do a
but
little
in Vermont,
test.
because we don't have pro sports.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
You got sports in
No
general?
team.
yeah, high school, right? But there's no we don't really have that. So that wasn't really an avenue. Like, no one ever thought that they could make it because they have never seen anyone from Vermont make it to a league.
So there's no kids outside playing basketball on the
we
courts.
did, but not like our summertime was like we were jumping in rivers. We were doing like really
Got
country
big,
stuff.
Got big mountains in Vermont, right?
Yeah, and so the wintertime snowboarding, skiing, snow machining, like stuff like that. But to get out, bro, a lot of people don't get out. So like even though you're talking about an urban area, like from the country, like the rural area, it's the same thing, just a little different. Like at least there was a direction, you know what I mean? Where like you could see it. A lot of the people that I grew up with, like you just like don't know. They tell you to go to college and then, but a lot of them end up staying right.
So what did you end up figuring out, you know, your passion? Like what did you figure out, like, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I love to do?
Yeah, I think I love basketball. Like basketball, I love all sports, but like basketball is like, I was the point guard because I was always the smallest. Like,
You could hoop?
bro.
You ain't never told me this.
Yeah. I've been trying to get into
Hey, his nickname's Black Mamba.
He ain't want that smoke. Give me some juice.
Well, listen, I don't got my name in the rafters anywhere, so I, you know.
okay.
But yeah, I was pretty good.
He ain't want that smoke. That's all.
Yeah, and so, you know, winning, like I won at racing. So once you start winning, I think we talked about it before, like when you win as young, and someone tells you you're good when you're young, that like stays
drug,
you.
man.
You just keep trying to get that.
Yeah.
Oh, you like me?
So-
high.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say like from a passion standpoint, I just love winning. Like that's what I love.
And you hit on something, Mama, I kind of want to go back into, which was like essentially seeing is believing. And for you coming from Vermont, you didn't necessarily have that as a kid. Like kids, like we gotta show our kids like this is obtainable. You go-karts, this is, you know, so on and so forth. And you didn't have that. So how is that tougher? Would you say, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think you guys
Like when
better
did you first see something to believe in it?
Yeah, I think y'all understand this. Like, I loved racing, but I picked my guy early, Tony Stewart. He was a winner. He was younger. He's just a little different. He was outspoken.
Yep.
He's kind of rough. Didn't mind ruffling feathers. Yeah, the bad boy. And like my mom never wanted me to race like Tony, but like I loved that. And I don't know. I think that's what drove me. I always wanted to drive for him. I wanted to work with him. Like at 14, I even got my dad was in the stock market, and I bought stock in Home Depot. Just to get closer, because I felt like I was close to Tony Stewart.
That's awesome.
So, and I still have that
You
stock.
became friends with him, right? Like you're pretty
get
tight
some
with
of
him,
that.
right?
Yeah.
You can get some of that, bro.
Yeah.
It's been a while now.
Hey,
You up now.
Well, we are up. You know, COVID came through and really helped the Home Depot. Yeah, me and Tony are boys, and that was huge, right? Like meeting your hero. Like,
That's awesome.
I'm sure you guys have been able to meet some of your heroes. Hicks, you've been in the sport forever, so I'm sure someone in the sport was a hero, and you like got to meet him.
You know, I never really had a hero in NASCAR,
Yeah.
but in motocross it was Ricky Carmichael.
How could it not be?
Yeah, so I got to meet him, which was pretty special. And the same thing when you meet the GOAT, like that stays with you for a long time.
Yeah, the goat of anything, but Ricky Carmichael was
Stud.
different.
Yeah, he was built different for sure.
Yeah, y'all got a hero that you met?
Heroes? I gotta think about that one.
Yeah, I gotta think about that.
Well, for me, man, it probably was like sports related. Not really. I could easily say family or father or something like that. For me, it was probably Carmelo Anthony.
Yep.
The reason is, you know, I know he was born in New York, but he kind of grew up in Baltimore essentially, and he was a hooper, and that was my dream to go to the NBA. So that young kid approach again, seeing was believing. A guy from my area, looked like me, tattoos, cornrows, the Allen Iverson look. You know what I mean? I was like, I had a picture of him up on my wall, and I wrote on there, if he can, I can. And that was kind of like I was just chasing that. So he was kind of like a neighborhood hero for me, to be honest, because you wanted the cars, you wanted to come back to the neighborhood and get that, once again, that love and that approval. So for me, it was probably Melo.
I love Melo. I went to the Syracuse basketball camp like 2 summers during high school and went to the Courier Dome, and that place was just like, it was just different when you walked in there. That was my
What about you, Paul? You got any?
I think growing up, obviously being a big football player and living in Wisconsin, we had the Green Bay Packers and we had the Wisconsin Badgers, and my dad played for the Wisconsin Badgers. So any kid's dream who plays football in Wisconsin is always go to Wisconsin, play football there, and then go be on the Packers or something. And Ron Dane was the running back when I was growing up, and he was Heisman Trophy winner, breaking all the records. He wore number 33, and like that was back when Wisconsin was really, really good, and loved watching them. And loved Rondé, got to meet him at some football camps and stuff, and that's why like 33 is my number. It's always been my number, and that's kind of like why I wore that number. So meeting him at those football camps was always really cool, and just like getting a picture with him as a little kid and having the posters of him, and he had all these cool like theme posters with like these Great Dane dogs and everything, and he was a cool guy.
Dope. Yeah. What you got, Juice? Hero?
Hero, I would say Ray Lewis.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ray Lewis.
You met Ray Lewis?
I wish I didn't use it earlier.
That's a good one.
Got a picture with him, met him. You know, just even for that time that I was around him, just his energy that he had. Like, he gave us a speech, you know, before a race, and it just, that same energy that he bring on the field, he had that same energy at that moment. I was just like, he the real deal.
Bro, he a winner, bro.
Yeah, he a
like,
real
that
deal.
dude, if somebody can get you going, it's him.
Yeah, for sure. And I love his motivational, all the videos they put together of him, like, just motivating his team. Like, that's the stuff we used to say when we was little, like his quotes that he used to say, like in the huddle, where he'd be saying, chanting stuff like, where my dog's at. Like, you know.
him, and he ain't even my hero.
Man, that was real. I felt his energy for sure. That's definitely one of my heroes.
Speaking of forearms and dirt bike riding, I met him, bro. My man forearm is big as hell.
Yeah.
Like,
Big boy.
he get a hold of you, you in trouble.
Yeah.
He said it, and he said it too. He said, you know, I miss tackle sometimes, but if I get a hold of you, you in trouble. I'm like, easy, big guy.
Bro, I
That
met
sounds just like him.
I met Shaq.
Oh, man.
And that was, I gave him my Kobe helmet, my custom helmet that I had done up by some folks, and I gave it to him, and I just stand on the pit wall to be like, kind of
Close at eye
close
level.
to be able to have a conversation. Like, he is so big, and his hand like up to my elbow.
Hey, Mamba.
Out of control.
Right.
Come here, Mamba. Hey, good to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you. Like,
Yeah,
it's
man.
dope.
I'm glad we get to sit here and talk about all this stuff, man. And like, just one thing I want to get from this show is just like, you know, stuff that I'm passionate about, and that's like helping others, you know, through my experiences, through my challenges, the traumas and the triumphs, you know, the successes. Like, I'm super duper passionate about just helping others, but from showing it, not versus sit down and, you know, tell you what to do. And I'm just passionate about helping people, man. And I hope like that I give that aura off for people to be comfortable to call me, text me, bro, how you doing this? Because I just love helping individuals and touching every place that I've been, you know. In junior college, you know, I got friends that I've had forever, Division I, you know, now in NASCAR. So I'm just so passionate about helping others if I get the opportunity.
You're always one of my first calls. Like, ever since I met you, I've always...
Don't tell him that, because you're
No, I mean, hey, I want to be honest.
Like,
Like, Darrell's been my guy ever since I met him in 2014, and like, we came up together. We were on the same team for a while, and then we went our separate ways, but still, like, this is one of my favorite people to see at the track and come to with stuff and ask advice from, and he's a real dude.
You know what? I feel like Paul's passion is. Paul is the energy guy. He's the energizer. He's passionate about getting people out of their seat.
Bro, that's exactly what I was going to go
That's
with.
like, I feel like that's you all
Talk
the way.
about it,
dog.
then. What makes you, because I've always, every time I see you, you make somebody just feel like if I was down, it's like, oh, all right, Paul, hard handshake. You know, like what makes you do that every time?
No, my passion is, I think, bringing energy, bringing people together, having fun, and just like I think, just being somebody that brings people together in such a fun, great way. And like, if I see people, when I see people, or, you know, just on an everyday basis, I want to bring good energy, good attitude, and like, I mean, growing up, and I had a great family, great mom, lived in a great household, but my dad, you know, I don't really talk about this with a ton of people, and the people that are close to me know about it, but like, didn't really have a good relationship with my dad, you know, didn't really like when he came home, kind of just tried to stay away from him and just kind of stay in my own place. And just kind of growing up, seeing things, it made me want to not be that way, and to be somebody who brings light, who brings energy, who brings people together, somebody who people want to be around and love the energy that they bring. And so I think that's where it comes from a young age. I've always just wanted to be a happy person who brings people together and brings great energy.
You've met a lot of different like people, because you've done some TV stuff and all this stuff. Do you feel like, what's it make you feel like when people tell you that? Because I've heard in other podcasts randomly people are like, Paul? They're like, Paul, and they pulled you up on the bus one. I forget, those guys are cool as hell.
Yeah, they're great.
And they pulled you up. Like, I know when you heard that, like, I know that had to make you feel something.
It was awesome because like I said, I love bringing the juice. So I like when people see it and recognize it and realize that it's real. Like, it's not fake. Like, how I am is how I am all the time. Like, I don't try to fake it in different rooms or with different groups. If you like me, you're gonna like me. If you don't like me, then you're not gonna like me. But
For sure.
I love the energy I bring, and you gotta be genuine.
I love that.
it
And
too.
it sounds like, it was like a cause and effect for you,
Yeah.
like a dark moment growing up or just like low energy moments. You were like, man, I don't like this,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna be the person that bring the energy. What
Right.
about you, Juice? You got like some passions or, some things that
I
move you?
love what he said when he said this one word that I love that we love. He said light. And that was like the thing that I wanted to, be more of, because where I'm from, it's a lot of, I would say, dark energy in my environment. And I just wanted to be an inspiration to people because I feel like that's what I needed when I was young, because there wasn't a lot of positive influences in my neighborhood. They always, you will go down the wrong path following the people that's around you, you know what I'm saying, in my neighborhood. So I'm like, I want to be the inspiration to people that I didn't have when I was little. So when I see kids or just anybody that I try to run into, I try to be that positive light, in their life, just whatever type of interaction they have with me, because like they say, you meet somebody for a reason. Either you learn from them or they learn it from you. Either they pouring into you or you pouring into them. So I just try to be that light and
Passionate about inspiring.
Yeah, inspiring. That's my passion.
Would
for
you
sure.
say, do you think that what you do now has allowed you to step into your light, so it's always kind of there and you are able to give that light like you want to other people more?
For sure. I definitely did a lot of self-development over my time in the sport that has allowed me to grow more and step into my light even more and be appreciative of where I'm at, to where I can influence, when I can inspire people. So I feel like I'm in this position for a reason, and I'm like, I have to keep shining my light. I have to keep being a light to people, because what else am I doing with, the position that I'm in? I'm not just doing it for myself at this point.
I love that.
I know we've been on the team 3 years, Hicks, but I'm really intrigued to find out like what you truly are passionate about, because I know you got your daughter, you did dirt bikes, but
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right, family and kids, but one thing that I'd probably say I'm passionate about is, just having fun, right? Like, life is short,
that's a fact.
and you can't take that for granted, right? So, when you go to work and, you're having a bad day, just it's one day, right? You gotta let it go, and just try to make everybody around you happy. Make sure they're having a good time, and don't take life so serious, right? Like, just you're not here for a long time. You're here for a short time. So just
Here for a good time.
Passionate
Here
about
for a
having
good
fun.
time,
And,
man.
and I can attest to that, bro,
Yeah.
because when I got on your team, like, I wasn't sure. I knew you were good at what you did. So I expected, like, Hicks to be a serious, uptight guy, because, that's how you reap the benefits of being good.
Like, that's how I looked at
Like,
it.
am I
too.
right? When we got in the sport, I'm like, oh, he good, like, man,
He's not gonna talk to
probably
us.
going, be strict. He's going, he
Yeah.
ain't, because, one of Hicks's favorite food, ice cream, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Ice
Oh,
cream.
yeah.
Brother.
He gonna eat a certain way. He's gonna
Yeah,
train a certain
yeah.
way. So I can attest to that, man. Like, you made me feel comfortable getting on your squad, and I could, as a young guy-ish, getting on your team, you made me feel comfortable of like lightening up and like, bro, next stop's your best stop, or next moment's your next moment. Like,
Yeah, because there'll be times you come up to me and you're like, man, I wasn't very. I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, it's one pit stop.
That's a fact.
Who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? We got 7 more after that. I don't care. Let's just have some fun.
Yeah, and that go a long way, bro. You just,
Yep.
it's over. There's nothing you can do about something that's already done. You just gotta be where your feet are, be present in the moment, man. That's
right.
I appreciate you for that passion being fun.
Were you always like this?
Pretty much. Yeah,
no,
I've always been that way my entire life.
Listen, I gotta let America know, this guy, out of all of us here, I know Hicks the least. So like, getting to know you over the past, few weeks, like getting this whole thing together, Hicks is like that cousin that is older, right? So you and he kind of, you don't really know what energy you're getting from him. So you're kind of like, let me make sure that I'm being correct with this guy. He'll say something, it'll be deadpan. And you're like, oh, shoot. He's like, I'm just kidding. Like, and you always got you kind of on edge like that.
But that's that fun, right? And
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I think has probably made you good for all these years, because you're like even keel with it all. You know what I mean?
And the thing about it is, some people will take that as, oh, he don't care. I mean, no, I care the most.
Yeah, you do.
Like,
And
I
you like
want to
to
be the
bluff
best.
like you don't.
I want to be the best. And like when I mess up and make a mistake, like inside, I mean, it's tearing me apart. But you can't show that because you don't want to let the people around you see that and let that affect them.
And that move is technically like a selfless move. If you show like, I'm mad about something that happened or a moment, it's going to be contagious amongst whoever you're around.
For sure.
And that, you know what I mean? So you said it on the last episode, it's about being a team player, so on and so forth. So that's what's up, man. Oh, boy. I love it.
It's about relationships for sure. I like that you said it about being a team player because that's how you stay in the sport, right? Is building relationships.
Yep.
You're going to be good for however you're going to be good for, but what's going to keep you there is how you get along with people.
When you're the best or you're really good, you're going to have a job, right?
Right.
But the second that you're not the best, they're going to start looking at you, well, that guy.
We don't really like him anyway.
Nobody wants to be his teammate.
Nobody wants to be his teammate.
When you guys have all been the best, I feel like at one point. I mean, we all have probably felt like that at one point or another, or felt untouchable. How great are those moments?
Oh,
How great! Like when you know that you really just laid it down in your job or whatever you were doing at that time, and everyone's like, "Dang, I can't compete with that, bro. I love
It's
that."
like you just want to capture that moment. You just want to stop it. Yeah, you want to stop it in time and just like relish in it. But it's like over like that.
And what's crazy
It's over like that. It's a moment.
And when you have that moment, it's like too. Like when it happens, you're like, oh, I just crushed that. Like I just dominate. Nobody's going to beat that.
And speaking of that, man, just being like real. So, like, I'm glad we were able to start this whole deal up, this show that we're doing. And the reason is, man, like we talked about it a lot, and just being honest with yourself. Taking off the mask. So my whole push with wanting to do this with you guys, like you're handpicked, you're selected, you're supposed to be here, is to humanize the athlete, humanize the person, outside of their career or what they do. Who are you outside of that? You know what I mean? Because most of the time we stress and we put so much effort into keeping up with the person in the helmet, the person that wear the gloves, the person that's on the field. So like that's my goal of starting this and just humanize, man. We're much more than just athletes. We're fathers, we're husbands, and so on and so forth.
Who are you, Darrell?
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you?
By the way, honored to be handpicked.
Pick you up.
The cap.
The
cap. Yeah, who are if straight up, if someone comes to and it's like, give me your elevator pitch of who you are. Who are you?
Wow.
I want to hear this.
That's deep.
Yeah, I'm interested in this one too.
That was a very good question.
Man, that's a tough question, man. But I'm a human, bro. I'm imperfect. I'm imperfect. I'm flawed, but I'm also like loving, and caring. I'm gonna make mistakes, but I love and care for people. Sometimes at a point where I'd put people in front of me. So like Jordan talked about earlier, I've spent some time, working on myself mentally, because I gotta be the best me if I'm gonna care about everyone else. But at one point I was putting people in front of me. So man, just a loving, caring dude, man, passionate. I care about the people around me. I feel like I'm really good at making others around me good in whatever we're doing, comfortable, fun. Like, and I am someone that you can call. That means a lot to me. And hopefully that's basically sums it up, bro, on who Darrell is. Just a loving, caring dude, and I care about everybody. You know what I mean?
Who's Jordan Page?
Well, honestly, I'm still, learning myself.
Right
I'm still learning myself. I don't even, I can't even put any type of labeling on me, but I do have them characteristics that you said, loving, caring. I want to make sure people around me are good, and I want to, take care of my family and make sure they're good. But as far as like what I would say right now, it's unwritten. You know what I'm saying? It's still more to be figured out. I'm still learning myself. So
that's not bad. Drop the jack on that one. I like that.
That's not a bad thing.
That's just honesty right there.
Yeah.
Is Paul Swan just the admit one ticket, or who are you?
I mean, you got to peel back the onion a little. There's a lot of layers to it. But, something that stuck out with me, what he said, is putting people before you. I think what strikes me with that is I think sometimes too much in my life I try to please everybody and try to put, everybody else's needs, you know, and maybe even in front of the people you're closest with. And sometimes you get affected by that, and you just try to do the best for everybody at all times, and sometimes it just catches up to you. And so I think just, I love caring for people. I love my family so much. I love my wife, Mariel, and my daughter. I mean, my wife she is an absolute rock star. She's the best person I've ever met. You guys who have met her, I think you've all met her.
Sure,
Like,
no doubt.
she is an absolute queen, and our daughter is so amazing. And like, meeting her and having our baby just puts so much stuff into perspective. And I just want to give them the world, and you want to do everything for them, and you want to do everything for everybody. And it's like, you just got to find your priorities and make those your priorities all the time. And it's really just finding that.
Hicks, batter up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to piggyback off Paul there, but you know, I'm a husband and I have 2 little girls, and honestly, that is my only thing that I think about, right? Is caring for them 2 little girls, and I want to be there for every event. I want to be there whether it's cheerleading, whether it's, you know, lunch at school, picking them up from school. You know, I'm very fortunate with the job I have. You know, I love picking them up from school. You know, that's my dad thing, and I'm just
That's awesome.
that's all I care about. I mean, that's those 2 little girls.
That's
That,
sick.
man.
love that.
That'll lead us right into what we always do on this show, man, and that's the vulnerable. We kind of already went there. Let's go a little further of our gloves off segment. You know, where we dive a little bit deep.
Take a sip.
Where take a sip. We already kind of teased it with a little appetizer of getting vulnerable with each other, man, and let's just dive a little bit deeper. And
2 jacks been dropped, man.
you
It's
know,
getting,
I love it.
it's getting crazy.
And I'll tee it up like this, man. For me, 2023, you know, they do like a pit competition, you know, at a racetrack, typically around pit crew guys. And last year, I got a call prior to it, an hour before. Some of you already know this. My mother calls me. She's like, "Hey, son, I know you got a big day today. She's not sure exactly what it is, but she knows I'm competing at a high level. And she says, I just got diagnosed, you know, with stage 4 lung cancer." And I'm like, wow, you know, I take a pause. I'm sitting in between the haulers, and I'm like, what? I don't even know what to say to this. You know, I'm like, "You okay?" You know, that's my initial reaction. And she's like, "Yeah, son, I'm gonna be okay. But you go out there and you kill it today." And that was like super motivation for me. Hicks was on my team, and if you can recall and attest to this, Hicks, before the car came in, I just yelled. Did I not?
He did. And I was thinking to myself, oh no, here we go.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I just yelled at the top of my lungs, because that day was the motivation to like go as hard as I can, do it for my moms, and she's still fighting today, doing well, but selfless, still worrying about how are you doing, son? How are you doing, son? So man, that's been my motivation ever since, man. And it relayed over to, you know, 2024, you know, doing it again, because it just triggers that, you know, that I'm technically pissed off, you know, because I know I got that call on this particular day, which led into, you know, us winning that deal back to back. So super special, but that's kind of like my little push, man. Mom Dukes is everything to me, you know what I mean? I'm sure, you know, y'all mom's everything to y'all, you know.
Yeah, I remember that day too. I remember when you told me, I was like, I couldn't believe it for you. I was sad for you the whole day.
The energy from the content from that day, because that was the first time that the Pit Crew Challenge was come back the way it was. It was like different. There was a different aura around it, and like the trophy was cool again, and y'all really put it down. But there was something that makes sense though, because there was something different about you that day, and I texted you after that, and
I was yelling at people behind the wall, and I told them, I was like, it wasn't personal. It was just something that I was dealing with that day. Like it just all came out. So.
Yeah, I love that.
That was a good outlet.
What about you, Hicks? You got a moment, man?
Yeah, so I got a deep one, and you know, Darrell knows about it. I actually, for the first time, I would say it was a couple months ago, I spoke up in a group meeting about it. You know, it's been bottled up kind of my whole entire life. But so I don't even know my real dad. So I was adopted at 3, and so that's you know, not knowing your real dad. It kind of hits hard, right? Like So, I grew up, I have a great dad, and I'm not saying anything about that, but still, not knowing your real dad, it's hard, right? Like, but, to backtrack that, I spoke up in a meeting, and this is how the Lord works, right? Like, I spoke up in a meeting about it, and it was like 3 days later, a girl messaged me on Instagram. Well, come to find out, she's my sister.
Shut the front door. Wait.
3 days later.
Wait. Was she in the? She wasn't in the group though.
No,
she just happened.
She still lives in Rhode Island.
Brother.
3 days later, I come to find out I have a little sister and 2 brothers.
Wow.
That you never knew nothing
that
about?
I never knew anything about.
And they just found you.
And they found me 3 days later after I come out to our group and talked to them about it.
That's insane, man.
The timing.
Were there any siblings? Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're
Were
good.
there any siblings that you know about? Like to this point, did you say I have siblings? I got a brother or sister that you know about?
I have a sister. Yeah, I have a sister
That you've known.
that I know.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a sister that I've
You find out you have these new siblings.
But yeah, come to find out, I have a 14-year-old sister, a 28-year-old brother, and a 30-year-old brother.
So what comes next with that?
So we've kept in contact, and obviously at some point I want to meet him. Right?
Okay.
Of course.
But with our schedule, it's a little bit hard. But yeah, it was crazy. Like I finally come out, right, and talk about it in front of a group of people. And then all of a sudden, 3 days later, I get a message on my phone. Hey, I think I'm your sister.
Wow.
And I'm like,
That is.
and I went to Darrell and I'm like, you ain't gonna believe this.
Right.
He's like, what? He's like, you're kidding me. I'm like, no, it's right here.
That's
like,
crazy.
So I'm adopted. Mine has been open adoption. So I know my mother, my aunt, my grandparents. It's been it's been an amazing experience. It's probably one of the more unique ones because of how it's been. But I don't know who my father is, and I'm cool with that. As far as I'm concerned, my mom is a Virgin Mary, and I just got here. You know what I mean? Like she's great.
Okay,
Like,
no,
I love her.
And as a man, you're kind of like, if he doesn't want nothing to do with me, I don't need nothing to do with him.
Right.
And that's kind of how you think about it.
The craziest thing about it for me, and I actually want to ask you about it, is the nurture versus nature. Like in when you're in your own area, like, okay, I get this from my mom and this from my dad, but then you're like, but I kind of think or do this. Like, where's this coming from? And as you get older, like that gets more because it's a piece of you that continues to grow. Yeah. Like, so for you, how were you able to, like, not cope isn't the word, but like work through this thing that you can't put your finger on?
I would probably say anger. The most, because it's kind of like, and to be 100% honest with me, it did not hit me until I had kids myself. And when I had kids myself, I said, how could somebody just not want to talk to their kid, not want to be with their kid?
Yeah.
That's when it hit the most.
Deep.
That's deep, bro.
Yeah, that's when it hit hard for me.
It's
like, cause you couldn't even fathom me, you, Paul, us that have kids.
Not even a
I couldn't
chance.
fathom.
No.
It didn't affect me one bit until I had kids.
That's big.
You spoke it in the universe though, and the universe responded.
Is that not crazy?
Is that crazy?
That's unbelievable. I was blown away.
When it's like, for me, like I talked earlier about my dad and my relationship, I have my dad, he's been in my life, but that's not necessarily the best thing because I grew up seeing stuff I didn't like, I didn't want to see. And to this day, we don't have a very good relationship. He barely knows my daughter. He barely knows my brother's daughters, and he lives 10 minutes away from them. He doesn't go to birthday parties. He didn't come to my wedding. I got some pretty crazy stories, and it just goes to show that just because you have an adopted father or a non-biological father, they can raise you to be an amazing person, and you don't need your biological father because you had somebody great in your life.
I didn't know any different. Like my dad was great. Right.
And that's okay, and it's pushed y'all to be, the fathers that you are today, the father that we all are, and it's okay, because sometimes everything's written, right, and this is kind of, I tread lightly on, but it's how it's supposed to be. Like it worked out, for a reason. Like,
and I hope that by hearing these stories, somebody else could do the same thing and maybe
break the cycle.
Yeah.
Do y'all know the difference between a superhero and a supervillain?
No, but you're gonna tell me.
Yeah, damn right. They both stem from the same thing, right? Something happens to them. The world does something to them. The super villain decides the world did this to me, I'm gonna hurt the world back. The superhero says, the world
sure
did this
this
to
don't
me,
happen.
I'm gonna make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else.
I love
That's the difference.
I
And the
love that.
difference
I
is
love
like
that.
this, it's
love
like
that so much.
one thing,
It's a decision.
one small decision. Oh, my first
hey,
one.
hey.
Ooh, I got my bag. Ooh, hey.
Dropping that.
Let me grab another one.
I'm saving mine. I need it.
Me,
That was awesome.
me and you, Juice, we done had a lot of talks. You know, you come over to the crib, chop it up in the basement, and we've had a lot of talks, man. And I know you got some. What you got, man?
I got a few, but I'm gonna talk about my mom. So yeah, my mom, she had breast cancer when I was 5 years old, and she passed from it. So I don't really know much about my mom, other than she was a police officer. And I know I have some memories of her, but they kind of seem like dreams because they don't change, but it doesn't seem like it was real. It seemed like they just always been in my head, like I didn't actually witness these things. But yeah, so I grew up without her, and I didn't know how much it affected me until I got older, because it was parts of me that I feel like didn't develop how they should have if I would have got that motherly love, you know, or that woman type of influence on my life, you know. So I went a long time just living with my father, and you know, my grandmother took care of me, so she was that mother figure, you know. Then my dad had another person he had a kid with. She was kind of like my mother figure, but it never felt like it was like the connection just wasn't what it should have been. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't all the way there. It wasn't all the way, you know, sewn together for me.
Chemistry of a
yeah,
mom's
that
is
chemistry,
different,
yeah, like
for
how
sure.
she would talk to me and how I know like I'm hers, you know, like that never really, I never got that. So I kind of just felt like that was, it was hard for me to realize, because when I'm 5, I don't really know, you know, I don't really feel the effects when I'm 5. And then when I got older and I'm like, and I'm seeing people with their mom and how their mom loves on them and how they treat their mom and how they know how to treat a woman because they have a father that's with their mother, you know, so they know what it looks like. And I'm just like, I don't have any of that.
When did you really start feeling that effect? Like when can you remember when
I
you
can remember. It was like, I would say 13, 14. That's when you start having your own thoughts, right? And you start being able to have perspective at that point, when you can see how stuff is and see how other people live, see how other people interact with their parents. You kind of like, I don't have that. I don't have that type of relationship with my mother. You know?
So how'd you handle that? Like did you go off to the side by yourself and like, you know what I'm saying?
That's a great question.
Because I got a moment where, and I'm gonna let you get back to that, where like basketball games. So like how I grew up, my mom worked a bunch of jobs, so she couldn't really show up to events and stuff. So when I saw, you know, people's moms and stuff like cheering them on, and I know my mother wished the best for me, but she had to do what she had to do to provide. So some games she had to miss, but there was times where I went and cried like to the side, like, damn, I wish, you know, my mother got to see me score that 20 points or whatever the case may be. Like, how did you handle that? Like, did you have any of those moments?
It was crazy because, you know, I didn't know what I was doing at the time that it was happening. But like, I kind of like you said about the villain and the superhero, I kind of took that superhero approach when I was like, if somehow, some way my mom is not here, I must be special. Something about me must be different, because the story wouldn't end just tragically. You know, like that's how I told myself that, and I'm like, I don't know what I was doing at that point.
Special, bro.
But
Yeah.
that's what I had to tell myself that, to be like, it's a reason for this. I'm not just motherless because I'm supposed to be nothing out here in this world. I'm supposed to be something because the story has to end well. It started off bad, it has
That
to
could have
end
went
well.
10 other
It
ways.
could have went so many other ways, especially in the
100%.
environment that I was raised in, right? It could have went so many different ways, and I was like, and I just told myself that in my room by myself, like, you special, because that's the only way this will make sense. So that's what I told myself.
Stop.
I'm
'cause
just saying.
I'm gonna get you.
That's
You know what I mean? You my
yeah.
guy. You already
Right.
You already know.
Well,
I love
listen,
it.
man. It's a testament to all of us technically being special, you know, in our way, shape, or form, because we all
appreciate
got
that.
those
You are
moments
too,
in
bro.
life, you
You are
know,
too.
father
Oh, yeah, boys.
figures,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
boys.
moms, you know,
Already know.
things happening, but we all ended up just okay, just right, just fine.
Right
You know
where
what
we're
I mean?
supposed to be.
So,
Yes, sir.
Paul, thank you for sharing. Jordan, thank you for sharing. Hicks, thank you. Mamba, thank you for sharing, man, and getting vulnerable with us. And it's okay to get vulnerable. So, For the viewers, it's okay, man.
Yeah,
and
it's
everything's
all
gonna be
okay.
And listen, you are special, you know what I'm saying, in your own way. So we're gonna close it up, man. That's it for this shows of Drop the Jack. We got vulnerable. We almost shed tears.
We're getting close. We're getting close.
So guys, man, check us out on YouTube, NASCAR.com, and anywhere that you find your podcast. And that's Drop the Jack. We out.
Peace.
It's time to drop the jack.